Hi everyone, thanks for joining today's webinar. Before to start, I would like to check if our audio and the screen is correctly displayed in your computer. So please just uh, give me a confirmation in the chat window. Loud and clear, that's good to start. Thanks for that. Okay, so welcome to another episode of our mobile mapping webinar series. My name is Miguel Parra, and today I'm sharing the presentation with my colleague Carl Shao, and we were glad to present it today what is new in the Trimble MX Publisher version 20.3. So for today presentation, the goal is to learn the new functionalities that our customers has in the new release of the publisher, and also introduce the attendees what publisher does in case they are not familiar with the software. For that, it's very basic requirements for today. So by now you should be familiar with the TMX software, meaning how we can create runs, how we can work with our mobile mapping data, and also how we can create the runs. Additional to that, we should be familiar how TMX software works in terms of the formats. So the required format for vector, raster, and geospatial data in general. And last but not least, some basic understanding of the IT infrastructure in your company will be very useful for knowing how to install and how the solution will work. And for that, we will prepare some the agenda for today. So we divided the agenda in three blogs. So the first one will be, of course, giving you a good introduction what does publisher do, some of the requirements for that. The second part, we will be focusing on some hands-on experience. So the best ways to show you how you could utilize our software to publish the data. And last, of course, and more important, they have the chance to answer any question that the presentation might arise in the attendees. So please remember to use the chat or the questions window to send any inquiries that you might have during the presentation. So at the end, we will be happy to answer them. So by saying that, I will hand it over to my colleague Carl. So he will be leading today's presentation. So I hope you enjoyed today's presentation. Carl, welcome to the
Thank you,
stage.
Miguel. Hello, everyone. So thank you for your attending. So today I will introduce about the Trimble MX Publisher software. So with the Trimble MX Publisher, is an efficient way to publish the geospatial data and with unlimited size. So all the geospatial data, including the point cloud, the georeferenced images, the vector data, the raster data, and the DEM data as well. All these data can be published in Trimble MX Publisher. And it also can perform the measurements and also some basic feature extractions within Publisher. You can connect to the more popular GIS and CAD environments such as the QGIS, the ArcGIS-Pro, the ArcMap, the AutoCAD map. Also, you can connect to your own applications by using the open source SDK. We will talk about the components of the Trimble MX Publisher. So first of all, we need to have a server. The Trimble Enterprise Service, also called EOS, is the core server technologies for the central storage. And it can manage and share the GIS, mobile mapping, and the public resources as well. The EOS enables corporate the management of the users, the permissions, and the workspaces, and also the licenses as well. The second one is the central storage. As we all know, so the volume of the mobile mapping data is quite huge. So we need a central storage to save and manage the resources and the geodata, yeah, maybe the base data as well. As client, so the admin user can use the desktop application. So we call the TMX Publisher catalog to remote access to the central storage to prepare the resources, including the local resources and the online web services as well. Then he can use the publisher controller, so our web application, to set up the publications. The end user can use the web viewer to consume the services, and also they can use the third-party applications by using the plugins. And all these are via internet, so there's a network connection required by using the publication link. So we are using the docs as a communication protocol between the Trimble MX components, so the server and the central storage and the publisher catalog as well. So the only one port requires, there is only one port requires to be accessible from the outside, and it's a compressed and binary way of the communication. So that means it's simple, fast communication, but it's most secure. From outside, the publish console and also the user can access via the network connection. So the end user can access to the publication link. The requirements of the publisher software. So for the server part, it needs the storage capacity and direct file access. So there's a minimum upload speed about 200 megabit per second, and the download speed about 20 megabit per second. So and there is no graphic card needed for the server part. For the desktop client, so it's more or less the same as a standalone application. So there is no specific requirement for the desktop client. As the web client, there is an internet connection required for about 20 megabit per second, and WebGL and hardware acceleration are required for the 3D rendering. So the software 3D renders are supported, but might reduce the viewing experience. So hardware accessory is referenced. In TMX Publisher, we use the desktop application, so-called the Publisher Catalog, to prepare our data. So all the mobile mapping data should be in the native TMX format to be published. So for example, for the point cloud, there's a OPC file format required. And for the images, there's a OMI format required. And all the panorama images and the planar images should be processed, or let's say should be optimized in the publisher catalog in order to be published. As we can say in the lower picture. So all the panorama images and the planar images are in 100% optimized. In this case, it is ready to be published for the Trimble Publisher in HTML5 version. So, and to do this data optimize or data processing, we have the optimized tool in publish catalog. So we can use this optimized tool to convert the data into the native TMX format. Same as the mobile mapping data, the other resources are also required to be the TMX native format for the publication. So for example, for the vector data, there's VOF or OVF or OVT format required for the vector data, and together with the OLG, the legend file, and the ORD file, which called the resource descriptor. In addition, for the vector points, it must have a symbol library file, which we call the OSL file. Same for the raster file, it is required for the OMI format, together with the resource descriptor, the ORD file, and the OIW file, which we call the image word file as well. Same as the mobile mapping data, all these data preparation can be done or can be converted in the publisher catalog by using the convert tool. For the map services, so for example, the WMS or the WMTS, so we are connecting to all these web map services by using OTM file. Later, when we put our hands on the software, I will show you how we can connect this, or how can we modify this OTM file to access to the map services. As I said, so there are no size limited for the data publication, but maximum there's only 20 runs per publication is allowed. That means if you have more than 20 runs and you would like to publish it together into one single publication, maybe you should use the our desktop application, the content manager. There's a tool called delivery. With this tool, we can merge different runs into one single run. In this case, we can publish more data, more runs into one single publication. As I mentioned, so all the data resources should fulfill the requirements of the TMX Publisher. If one of these resources doesn't fulfill the requirements, the publication won't open, or at least some functionalities are not available. In the latest version of TMX Publisher, the 20.3, we have a new console which provides a simplified workflow to create a publication and to combine multiple resources together into this publication. With this new console connection link, we can use the admin user to create a publication and to modify the publication as well. So here is the interface of the new controller. We can see, so we, as a admin user, we are allowed to access this new controller in edit mode. So here we can see the edit equal to. That means we are access this control as an admin user, and we are allowed to modify or to configure our publication. And after that, all the modification can be saved by clicking the update publication button. In this case, all the data saved in current control can be published and can be seen by the end user. So now I will put hands on the software to show you how we can use with our Trimble MX Publisher software to create the publication. First of all, I will try to explain how we can prepare the data and to set up a publication. So in our Trimble MX Publisher installation folder, there is a link for this new controller, which we call the Trimble MX Publisher controller. And simply double-click on this link, we are able to access the new controller with our admin user. So here you can see the new interface of the controller. We have the resource tab together with the resource groups. We have the models, and we have users or the user groups. And then we have the publication tab to create or to modify our publications. The last tab of the system contains the licensing of the publisher software. So only with a valid license can be allowed to use the controller, and also can use the publisher catalog as well. So now I will show you first of all, how to add a resource into the controller. Here we can directly go to the new button and click new to browse to the data resource that you would like to add into the controller. So here, for example, I can add a new mobile mapping data set from our MX9 system. So here, simply navigate to the data folder and go to and select the OMR file. So, and we can give it a name. So, for example, okay, and then click Create Resource to save this resource. Also, we can all add a background map. As you know, so in TMX software, we use the OpenStreetMap as the default background map. Here in the resources list, it is not listed by default. We need to add it manually. So again, go to the new and browser to our publisher installation folder, and under server data sets, there is a OpenStreetMap. Select the OpenStreetMap.otm file. We are able to add the OpenStreetMap and And don't forget to click the base map. Now we allowed to use the OpenStreetMap as a base map. Click create resource. You can see it is added into the list. So we have the mobile mapping data set. We also have our background map, the tiled map of the OpenStreetMap. Also, we can add vector data as a footprint, so we can navigate to the resources to vector file and to add this vector file. Created. Now we have our mobile mapping data. We have the background map, the OpenStreetMap. We have also the vector data as a footprint. Now the next step, maybe we can create a group for our resources. Here's one thing. So when we try to create a group, we can see that only the data, the resources net with the same type can be created as a group. Here, for example, we have different type of the resources. We have tiled map, we have mobile mapping data. Also, we have images. So once we, for example, select the mobile mapping data, the type for the group will be set as mobile mapping. In this case, only the other resources with the same type, so with the type in mobile mapping, can be selected and can be added into this group. Here, for example, I can add another mobile mapping data, but if I try to add the other, for example, the tiled map or the other vector data, it's not allowed. So only the same type resources can be added as a group. We give you a name. Now we have created the source groups as well. Also, we can also create some users and allow these users to access our publication later on. So here, maybe you can set a user with test1 T1 and password with T1 as well. And maybe we can add another with T2 and create is as same as the resource group. We can group users. We can create a new user group. And select the users we just created. Now we have the groups. After all is done, we can go to the publications tab and to create a publication. Click the new button and give the publication a name. So demo publication 2050. And yeah, if you have a public, you have a logo hyperlink, you can use the publication logo into your publication as well. Here, for example, I can use the hyperlink of our Trimble logo, and we can add it into the publication we would like to create it. Here you can see the logo can be added into the application. Also, we need to set the coordinate system for our application. Here we set the coordinate system for our data set. Beside this, we can see that there are some sidebars or some different variables and also some settings that we can configure to decide if we would allow all these be seen or be available for our end user. So for example, here we don't have the oblique planar images and we don't have the UAS planar images as well. So we can simply disable this to 1. Same for the others, you can decide what would you like to share with the end user, what not. So after that, we can create publication. You can see now we are finished to create a publication, but it's just an empty publication. So now I will show you how to edit the publication we just created, how to add resources into this publication, and how to modify it. You can go to the publications and select the one we just created, and here these are 3 dots we can click, and you can see here is edit in view. We can access this by using our admin user account. Here we are allowed to select which resources we are willing to involve into this publication. For example, here we would like to use the mobile mapping data which we just created, and maybe we can also use the vector data as well. As a base map, we can use the OpenStreetMap. So these we are added into the publication, and we can close this catalog window. Now you can see the point cloud data together with the trajectory of our mobile mapping data are shown in the window together with the Trimble logo as well. Yeah. So we now can go to the workspace. We can modify the workspace layout. So we can decide and we can arrange the views. So for example, we can set it as horizontal or set it as vector or even in tiled format. And for the reference, we can select, put it in top or left, right. It depends on your favorite. So here, after we select the reference view, we can see that the OpenStreetMap as a background together with our mobile mapping trajectory will be shown here. And also we can set the backdrop for our 3D view. For example, we can select this one, the bright blue sky. After that, we are able to add a 3D or add a spherical view or add a planar view. For example, here I would like to add a new spherical view. Maybe here we can add a spherical view to add our panorama images. So you can see when you go to the resources, you are able to edit or modify our view of resource. For example, we can edit the point cloud legend. So we can set the, for example, set the point size for a point cloud. We can also set the point cloud into different color by, for example, RGB if the data set is already colorized, or maybe in height. So it depends on what your favorite. Same for the vector data. Yeah, here is one thing. So as our vector data, which we involved into this application, is only in 2 dimensions. That means there are no attitude information in this vector layer. So we need to, here we can see the general settings. There is a reference ground height. We can simply measure on view to get this reference ground height. You can simply click on the ground, then you can see the height will be set into the height of the ground. In this case, the vector layer will be able to lay out together with our 3D view into the. Here also we can see the viewings. We can select to display our vector resources into our ground map. Also, we can, for example, to synchronize our views. So here, when we select to synchronize our views, both views will be synchronized into the same focus. And you can see the vector layer is displayed on the base map, and on the image, and on the point cloud data as well. So maybe to make it more clear to be seen, maybe we can edit the vector data to red and to set the different width of the line. So this, as you can see, all vector data can be seen in different view. So now we have already set up our publications, and if we would like, we can click update publication to save all these modification. And after that, we can share this publication with a link to our end user. Yeah. So before that, we should go to our publication. So which one we just create, and to click the share. So there is a checkbox if we would like to share this publication link with login required. In this case, we can select a specific user and allow his users to access our application. So for example, here we share our link to the 2 users we just created, and maybe to the groups as well. Actually, they are the same. And then we can go back to the publications and go to here. We can launch it. And now with this launched link, the end user with the permission. So for example, this the user T1 is allowed to access to our publication. So here you can see, here you can see the data we just the publication we just set up can be seen by the end user. Also, the end user can operate on this publication link. So for example, they can also add a 3D view, add a spherical view or a planar view as they wish. So for example, here I can add a planar view to see some specific place. So here, and you can go back to the panorama images by clicking this button. So, and you can change it back to the panorama by clicking this again. Also, you can change to the different cameras, as you know. So for our MS9 system, there are 3 planar cameras. So we can switch to each of them and to see the images of this planar camera. Also, the end user can use the geocoding search. For example, let me say we can search for the library. So we can see after I click search, here all the viewers we opened will be jumped into the location and towards to the library. So here the library is behind the trees. So all these will be jumped into the location and towards to the library that we selected. Also, there are some measurement tools provided in the publisher. So here we can see with the measure, there are lots of different measure functions for different type. For example, the point, the distance, lines, areas, and also the catenary as well. So we are able to measure a specific object within the publisher. So for example, here I can measure the power, and also I can click to save the the object we just measured. For example, is the power one. And also we can go to the next object to, for example, to measure a line for the edge. And then we can also save it as a line. And after that, we can also save our measurement by clicking download. Here we can download it as the KML format, or the WKT format, or the GeoJSON format. Just simply click the download button and to save it into a certain place. And later on, the end user are able to load this layer For this measurement, there are also different 3D view. The slice view can be used. So here, when we click the slice view, we can see there are many methods that we can use to create a slice. So for example, here we can create a horizontal slice by one single coordinate, and to create a new one. Wait a moment. You can see the slice view are shown here. You can see the horizontal slice view. So in this case, we can create a cut plan of the buildings. So also, for example, we can, for example, for this building, we can use a vertical slice by 2 coordinates and to create a vertical slice of the building. And in this case, we are able to, together with our measurement tool, to, for example, to measure the height of this building or the length of this building. So here, for example, here we can measure the length of this facade. And I think this is much easier than we operate in the 3D view, and it should be more accurate. So now we are finished to edit our publication, and we can go to try to customize our publication. So for example, we can add a web map service, or we can add a raster file as a background. So first of all, as I said, for the web map service, we need a OTM file, and with this file, we are able to so for example, here we have a OTM file. With this file, you can see what contains this file. So there's the format of this web service, the map URL, the image format, which layer you would like to use, and the coordinate system as well, and the pixel size. With this OTM file, we are able to add it into our catalog software. So simply drag and drop into the catalog here. We can, first of all, we can set the coordinate system of this layer of this web server. So for example, for this one, you would like to use this coordinate system, and you can use it. Also, we can create a legend file for this OTM file. We can simply create this into the same folder and to save it. In this case, we are able to create the OLG file and the ORD file together with our OTM file. And with these 3 files, we are able to use the web map service in our publisher. So how to use this? We can go to our resources and to add a new one. Resources, folder. So create it. And now when we go back to the edit mode of our publication, we are able to add this resource. So we can add the demo TMX file, and you are able to see it. So maybe you can refresh it. So maybe this depends on the network connection, as this is web services, so it could be more, it could be slower. Maybe I can show you with one publication that we have already prepared to make it easier to see how it would looks like. So here you can see that here we already add the web server, and we can set it as a background. So the same as the OpenStreetMap, we can use it as a background map. Same for raster file. So when we go to the raster file, we can also create the OIW, OLG file, ORD file, OIW file together with the OMI file. With all these four files, we are able to add the raster file as a background map as well. So here, for example, we can add this raster file in and set it as our background. So that's it, I think, from my side for this hands-on software. As a summarize, so today we will introduce about the Trimble MX Publisher in version 20.3, and we worked on the new controller in HTML5 version, and we create the publication and modify the publication as well. We also can customize our publication with our available resources, and the end user can access and utilize the publication with the publication URL link. If you want to learn more about the Trimble MX software, you can contact Image Support at trimble.com for the technical details, or you can contact our local sales for the product overview and for the evaluation. You can with active maintenance of the license, you are able to upgrade your software to 20.6x, and all the latest installers of TMX can be found at our Trimble Geospatial website. We are also welcome to you to join the other mobile mapping webinar. For example, the next one in June 2nd, the mobile mapping essentials, to discuss about the calibration and the registration in our TBC software. Also, we have from this month, we have a bi-monthly newsletter we call the Mobile Mapping Gazette. So it will keep you informed about the product news, customer stories, webinars, and the training courses. You can use the link below to subscribe and get this cassette. Okay, thank you for your attention. Let's see which questions.
Okay, Carl, thank you for your presentation. I hope it's very clear and easy to follow for the customer that uses TMX Publisher, and good introduction for the customer that are willing to use it for the first time. So we have a couple of questions there. So I would like to start with some clarification about why is this new publisher available. As you might know, our previous version was using a Flash Viewer version, and that one will be end of life at the end of this year. So all the publications based on Flash Viewer will be not supported anymore. So that's why we are moving to HTML5 only. So to keep in mind for our existing customers that have some publications there in Flash Viewer still. One question regarding the options to remove the vehicle from the pictures in the publication. So that one is possible not only for the publisher, but also in the desktop application. So for that, you might need, or you need to have the content manager who has the option to colorize the point cloud and also to remove or to mask out the car out of the images. Yeah, so for that, you need additional software. So it will be the content manager. Another question, is there any way to host the data directly on Orbit or Trimble server? So the idea to have publisher is that the customer itself has the option to control their own data. So I think that is the solution that we provide to the customer, so they don't depend on us, so they can have full control on their data and they can host it in their own organization. So far, we don't have this service to host data from customers, so it will be everything on the customer side. Another question there is about the licensing. If is there any monthly subscription plan available? So far, the software has only several packages for licensing, but no monthly subscription. So I guess will be a good recommendation for our product management to take it into consideration. Thanks for the question. Second question from okay. Is TMX Publisher limited to importing only MX9 data? So basically this software is meant to use mobile mapping data. So we support both of them, MX9 and MX7, but obviously as you see in our presentation, you could add data coming of different sources like UAV or even terrestrial data. So the important thing is that you could prepare correctly your data sets to be able to merge it in a publication. So some additional consideration has to be taken into account, but in principle, yes, you could add more data from different sources. I One question that's how to install the TMX Publisher. This actually the process to install the software is quite simple, but the preparation for that requires not only the help of the IT administration of your organization, but also the knowledge how the publisher works. So for that, if a customer is interested to test it or to have more information about that, we recommend to approach our sales team so they will be able to set up a customized environment to give you a better introduction of the publisher. But yeah, if you need a specific instruction how to install it, just please let us know through our imaging support email, so we will be happy to answer or to guide you in the installation. Yeah, I don't see if any other questions are coming up. Did you see another one, Carl? So we still have some minutes there. Or maybe if you want to add something about the answer that I gave.
No, nothing from my side. I don't see new questions. So we have 4 minutes. So if you have any further questions, so feel free to send your questions to us, and we can try to answer it for you.
There is also a question regarding which platforms the data can be published into. So if I understood well the question, publisher allows to put the data on the web, and you could utilize this data to link to your workflow environment depending on the software that you are working on. But the data is always published in the internet. Once it's there, you can link it either to the preferred GIS platform or the CAD software that you use by using the plugins. And also you can develop your own implementation of or customize the implementation of the publisher, adding to, for example, existing GIS map server that you already have it. So that both options you will have with the publisher SDK and with the plugins. Okay, again, that is all the questions that we have so far.
So if you don't have no more questions, so we will close this session. Thank you for your time to join us.
Thank you everyone for joining us today. Please keep tuned for the next webinar regarding TBC and the new features of the new release of TBC, and see you next time. Thank you for your time and have a good day.